All right, so this is Speyside by Bon Iver. I know now that I can't make good, how I wish I could. Go back and put me where you stood. Nothing's really something, now the whole thing's soot. It serves to suffer, make a hole in my foot, and I hope you look as I fill my book. Oh, what a waste of wood. Nothing's really happened like I thought it would. It says that. I can't rest on no dynasty. Yeah, what is wrong with me? Man, I'm so sorry. I got the best of me. I really damn been on such a violent spree. But maybe you can still make a man from me. Here on Speyside Key, with what's left of me. As you live and breathe, I really know now what had hold on me.
Hi, I'm Corrin. This podcast is called The Ache, an ode to the existential ache of being human, that still small voice tugging inside every single one of us, prompting us to change, move, grow, become more of our authentic selves. This is conversations with people who dance with the ache.
That was beautiful.
I'm shaking. It's fucked up.
I started crying as you were reading it,
No.
so I think there was something there.
Oh, God. I cursed. Is that okay?
Yeah, we curse on this. We fucking curse on this
Fuck
podcast.
Yeah. Can't help it.
You can literally say whatever you want.
I love that word. It's such a great word. It means so many things.
You can use it in so many different ways.
Well, if my mom listens, I should probably curb it. Sorry, Mom.
That is the voice of Michael Vlamis. He's an actor, filmmaker, screenwriter, and just wearer of so many creative hats. When I met Michael, I was immediately taken by how funny he was, how much energy he had, but also how much depth there was behind his eyes and how much soul he had and how honest he was. He's somebody that immediately was telling me all sorts of things about himself and his life, and I love folks that are willing to just get into it. And I knew he would be amazing for the podcast, and really it was just a huge ruse for me to be able to get to know him more and see if he would bare his soul for us a little bit, and he did. Here's our conversation.
Okay, so tell me about your relationship to the song, or like why it struck you.
I feel like several reasons. That song is almost like an amalgamation of all the things that I have going on right now. One being I'm writing a new movie that deals with basically like father-son trauma. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening too. But yeah, I mean, I think that it goes so deep into reflecting on mistakes that we've made in the past. And then when we're kind of coming out of those mistakes, or even if you didn't make a mistake, just an experience in life, I feel like I do this thing where I become like a masochist in a way, you know, whether it's like Googling a freaking ex or something, right? Or just listening to songs that remind you of the most troubling times in your life. And a lot of the times I think it's cathartic, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm like addicted to this like pain. Mm-hmm. Like I grew up in a way where I'm not like, part of me is proud to say it, but I feel like I'm someone who can take a beating and I can always come back from a beating. And I'm really good at forgiving. And I've always thought, well, I was about to say I always thought I was good at forgetting, but maybe actually in this moment right here, maybe I'm not that good at forgiving. Maybe I'm really good at burying. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to bury anymore. And at the end of that song, right, it feels like he's moving forward, like he sees what was going on, what he was dealing with, and I want to be that. I don't want to bury, I don't want to build resentment. I want to be communicative and deal with what's happening and move forward.
This reminds me of actually a page in this book. Let me see if I can find it. You could read it if you want. I guess I was just going to show it to you, but it's from the P the Fairy Spirit Math book.
To experience more ease, you must be willing to sacrifice the value you attach to having a high pain tolerance. Woo!
But as you were talking, I was like, I'm someone that has placed a lot of value in my life on having a high pain tolerance or being able to endure things and being able to deal with things. I've said about myself, this is like a small and less like emotionally charged version of this for me, but it's like, I often will talk about like, oh, I can make a movie with no money.
Yeah.
That requires so much sacrifice from me, basically like pounds and pounds of flesh from my body. There's other areas in my life where I do this too. Like I can bear the emotional weight of my friends. I can teach people how to communicate. I can bear like feeling not met in circumstances because I'm comfortable sacrificing or I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And as you were talking, I was like, oh man, where is that line between masochism and catharsis? Where is that line between like, when does it become, helpful or not helpful? And I think for me in my life, it's like only a question that I can answer and only the question that's you can answer for yourself, and no one can tell us like what it is because we have to read our own energy, and know.
Yeah.
But it also reminded me of my obsession on this podcast, which you probably know because we talked about it on Lily's episode, which is shadow integration, where it's like not being scared of that pain. And like for you, I guess like digging it up, like not burying it.
Yeah, opening yourself up. What you just said is so interesting because you talked about a line, right, between masochism and I guess, what was it, being cathartic?
Maybe
right?
It's not a line, maybe it's a bell curve. Maybe.
When you said line, I thought about balance. And I thought about how I am someone with zero balance. I've never had balance in my life. I'm going 100% on anything I do, which then kind of scares me from diving into anything because I know that, I want to have a good time with this person. Well, I'm going to give them everything, because I don't know how else to operate, or this project. I'm going to give it everything, and you end up burning yourself out, and you end up, bearing this weight that you think you can handle, and then once you're burned out, you need a full reset. You need a week of like not seeing anybody or doing anything, sometimes months away from like work. Although that's not really the case. I might feel that way and then I dive right back into it, as always.
Yeah.
But like what you said, I mean, I literally went and I did that. I went and made a movie with way less money than we needed because
We're talking about Crossword.
We're talking about Crossword, yes. Good old psychological thriller.
Is it out and available?
No, it's not out. We premiered at Austin Film Festival opening night. We were a staff pick, which was cool. We got a cool sales agent from it, and now indie film. This doesn't need to turn into an indie film podcast. So we could talk about that all day.
Yeah. But back to what you were saying. Sorry.
Yeah. But basically, I had so many amazing collaborators, but it takes way more collaborators than that, especially when making a movie. I've always envied musicians, how they can make something, right, in their
I always
bedroom.
say novelists. I'm always like, I should have been a fucking novelist.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Just rely on yourself, and then actually it doesn't even work that way though. Then you have to rely on the universe, the people, the audience, the marketers, all that. But no, I wore so many hats on that movie, and I think I was one of few people who was paid absolutely nothing, and anybody who wasn't paid anything demanded not to be paid something, and it was a big favor, But I probably have sunk thousands of hours into Crossword.
Yeah.
And I gladly did it. And I think I even raised less money than I needed just to prove that I could do it at a lower level, right? At a lower budget level. And now looking back at it, the next time I go and make something, I'm padding the budget. I'm going to take care of myself because I am so good and not taking care of myself. I'm so good at taking care of everyone else, not myself.
And have you ever heard of this book, Existential Kink? Did we talk about it?
Oh, yeah, you told me about this.
I feel like we talked about it.
I think you might have been like, I don't know if you're ready for this yet.
Well, because it's just like, I don't know if I hope I didn't say it like that. I don't mean to tell you what you're ready for.
You didn't.
But I like, I'm obsessed with this concept because it's like, it helps you sort of like find the root of why a negative pattern in your life is serving you on some level, essentially. And so she, like, in the book teaches you how to like create space to be like enjoying whatever that quote unquote negative pattern is in your life. Like for you, maybe like overburdening yourself, or like really just like needing to like prove that you can take that beating, quote unquote, in whatever way that it comes, whether it's like putting yourself through that ringer or like dealing with your emotions without expressing them. I don't know how it presents for you, but it's like that serves us in some way. And usually like it's linked to our childhood or linked to like, you know, whatever from our past, where we're like, okay, for me, art, so much of making art was always like about being an artist and like being like a true artist, quote unquote. You know, I was taught, my dad was like such a lover of like classic art, and he would always like tell me about these like famous artists that like, you know, just put all of themselves into it and were poor, and it didn't matter because they had this inspiration. And it's like, I was also raised very religious, and so it's like making work for God, like that is why you would do anything, is to like glorify God. And so I think then coming into like a business that really does thrive off of like unpaid labor and like people doing it, and we need it, like an indie film, like we need everyone to come in and help, right?
Oh man.
But like for me, I've had to like go into myself and be like, what part of me is like benefiting from that? Like it makes me feel good inside, because as a child, or as like, you know, in different times in my life, I was like praised for like how much I could do with as little as I could. Like my parents were always like, wow, you like put this whole thing together like with nothing, you know, or whatever, like, or whether it's emotional patterns, you know, like that we were rewarded for like being quiet as a kid, or like, you know, different things.
And being resourceful, being like a survivalist. I feel so much now like I did as a kid. I feel like the older I get, the more I feel like a kid, because I do all of the things I did as a kid. You know, I mean, I made movies as a kid. I played video games as a kid. I ate like Flamin' Hots and Takis and stuff like that, you know, like everything I love, I still do. And as a kid, it was always just like, oh, things are really, really tough today, but I made it through. And you feel good about that. That's a reward. And that's something that I pride myself on, and I continue to seek out. And I'm at this point in my life where I really believe and think that I want peace. And I'm starting to understand that maybe I don't know how to achieve that.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
It's like that part of the book where it's like, to experience ease, you have to let go of the whatever it said about like the
pain tolerance.
Yeah, like the how much significance you give to pain tolerance, or whatever it said.
But it's also a superpower, you know?
Yeah.
If we didn't have the pain tolerance, or I'm saying we now, just looping us all in.
Loop us in.
But if I didn't have the pain tolerance, I don't know if I would, I'm about to say like be as far in my life as I am, but it's like, what does that even mean? Like I'm trying to be more far mentally.
The way that I took that quote too for me is like, I read that and I'm like, oh, it's that I'm valuing having a pain tolerance over something else. So in my mind, I'm like, how do I equalize value? Oh, I actually do value ease as much as I value like rewarding myself for like getting through something, you know? And I think if like there's these like, to get that line, back to the line, and the balance,
draw the line.
The balance is like being like, okay, there's these like, for me, I'm like seeing different things in my life that I valued more at different points or whatever. And it sounds like for you, it's like, okay, you're recognizing cognitively that you want to value ease, but then looking at your life and going, okay, it's not reflecting that back to me yet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the weird thing. I feel like it changes week to week, month to month. You know, I feel like I have it for a month. Maybe I even have it for a year. And then I'm right back where I started, right? I mean, not exactly, definitely still with growth, you know? But I have this like knack to have to touch the cast iron skillet while it's burning at a high temperature to be reminded that like, oh yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be like that. What are you doing? But why does one have to continuously burn themselves to figure that out?
I don't know. I ask myself this exact same thing. Sometimes my latest thing recently has been, can I just be okay with it without needing to make it mean something? Like for me, if I was in your shoes, I would be like, maybe it's okay that I need to touch the skillet. Maybe I just touch the skillet from time to time. Like maybe it doesn't mean I'm like stuck, you know?
Yeah.
Unless it's plaguing you, which it seems to be, so.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is maybe it's not plaguing me.
Yeah, maybe you were just taught that it should plague you.
100%. I look at like, I just went to like my neighbor's art installation at the Hammer Museum earlier today. And I'm like, man, this person's so peaceful, everything. But I don't know what's going on with her behind closed doors. But when I look at her work, if you look at my first movie, you're like, damn, what is going on with this dude's brain, you know?
Same with me with mine, you know, like.
Yeah, I've seen your work. I know all about it. And I love it. What is wrong with me?
I think what is right with you. Yeah. I really think human beings, we seek out extremes. We do.
Yeah.
Like if you could be the most peaceful person on the planet. Jacques is a great example. It's like, you know, he is so peaceful and so kind and like never has like a, like, I don't know. He's just like even keel. But what does he do all the time? He plays like video games and first person shooter stuff and like stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, like we all want to feel like intensity in some way. And I do think cinema, video games, like, and I talk about this on the podcast all the time, is just such a safe way for people to experience violence and like all these things that we're interested in, I think, as people. And I'm sure for you as an actor, there's a whole other layer because you are stepping into that and like physically like. Oh,
I mean, just, you know, the weird thing is though, even I understand that I was always meant to be in this industry because looking back on it my entire life, and maybe this is like egotistical or something in a way, but I don't really mean it.
Maybe that's okay.
Yeah, but I don't mean it. I don't actually think it. I don't think it is, but I think it could come off that way. But I always felt like...
Who cares?
Yeah, well, I always felt like my life was a movie.
Yeah.
And not because I just felt like my life should be a movie. It was because I continuously put myself in situations with people that if you wrote it in a scene, you wouldn't believe it happened.
Yeah, you'd be like, that's fake.
100%. I have so many stories throughout my life that if I tell someone, they don't believe it. But I was there, it happened, I witnessed this. And part of me, in a sick way, is like addicted to that. I'm addicted to it.
I mean, it sounds amazing. It sounds great.
It's action. I love action.
It sounds great. I mean, I think like if your addictions can be healthy. Some people love to like marathon run or like whatever, you know, like
I'll just write about that one.
It sounds enjoyable and cool. I mean, and what more can we want? Each of us human beings, we're having our own individual experience. And I think now with social media, with like all of this stuff in the world that is bringing us together, which is amazing, it's also making people feel like they need to be the same as someone else, or that, you know, their desire for extremes, or, you know, for me, my desire for like intensity, or like the kind of films I like to make. You know, it's so easy to label these things or be like, that must mean X about you. But in reality, it's like, no, we're also unique and individual. And like, to me, you being like, oh, my life is like a movie, it sounds like the best thing ever, because I feel that way about my life too.
Yes.
And I hope we all do.
Yes.
I hope we're all like, oh, my life is like the best movie, because some people love to watch like a Miyazaki movie, some people like to watch like a movie.
What movie is it?
I guess, oh, that's true, they're all so different. Or like I feel like the certain ones could be so like calm, or like I watched Boy in Blue Heron. It like just feels, there's scenes that are just so like chill.
That's
or like
Jack's life.
different thing. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But then there's films like, you know, an action movie or a comedy or a rom-com or like you know, whatever. I think my point is I'm fucking rambling, but
well, I'm curious, when you're
like,
do you have this thing where if you are in the middle of a fight, maybe with a partner or whoever, have you ever like stepped outside of yourself by accident, being like, oh, this is a great scene?
I've definitely had moments like that.
Okay,
yeah.
I haven't had one of those in well, I don't even know if that's true, thinking about it now. I'm so bad at like, I know exactly what I'm feeling in a given moment, but then like, because I think I had to cope by forgetting as a kid, I forget.
Yeah.
Like all these, I just
Well,
remember the bigger picture.
It served you well.
Yeah.
So why would your body like
serve me
not
very
let
well.
that go? It would keep that going.
Yeah, but I'm 35. You'd think it was like, go away. What?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the nervous system, like so much of like the nervous system and like neural pathways in our mind, it's just like I think that it's all changeable, but it requires, or in my experience, it has required teaching myself that a new thing is safe. Like when Jacques and I moved in here together, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this, I was freaking the fuck out because I was finally with someone that I felt safe with, except I didn't feel safe. I was constantly like, when is the other shoe gonna drop? Something, he's lying to me about something, like for sure. And he was so patient with me because I kept being like, something's going on. Yeah. And he was just like, literally nothing is going on. And I would be like reading into things and it was, I'm not a person to like do that often.
Yeah.
But in this situation I was, and I realized like going through it and on the other side of it, I was like, yeah, my brain and body are trying to recreate what I've been through before.
Right.
These instances of like being betrayed or being lied to or like having things like information withheld from me. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it means to like be in partnership or like that. And so my brain's in a happy partnership and is like recreating that even though it wasn't actually happening.
Yeah, it also just shows how much you care.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who cares so much. You know,
I love that about
everything
you.
I do, I care so much. Yeah, I think that's a great thing, but it's also really, really scary because I think when you care and when you lead with love, it's so vulnerable. Someone told me yesterday, I was on a walk around Echo Park Lake, and the guy was like, dude, you're so generous with the compliments. And I was like, well, I just thought that in that moment. My brain short-circuited right there and was like, oh, yeah, you think this, say it, you know? And I say it, and he said, that's so vulnerable. And I was like, I just feel honest, but I guess that is being vulnerable. I don't expect anything back in return, but I think that I am a very vulnerable person, and I am very complimentary to other people, and just got to remind yourself to be complimentary to yourself, you know? And I've been trying to do that. I've been I don't even know if I would be on this much of a streak if the app didn't tell me how many days in a row I have, but you know, I'm using one of those, like the Headspace app, and really focused on giving myself that time every day and sitting with my thoughts, and yeah, I mean, doing my best. But it's nice when it's nice. I like other people feeling good. You know, I want to feel good. I want to make other people feel good. I know what it's like to be the outcast, the guy who hopes that, am I going to get invited to the sleepover? You know, like, is that girl going to like me back? Like, I lived that life, you know? Maybe I don't necessarily live that life anymore, you know, with friends and partners and all of that. But I know that feeling of feeling outside of the group. And I don't want anyone to ever feel that way.
So you extend yourself in that way of being like, let me bring people into the group.
Overextend.
Yeah. I know your face when I was like, you extend yourself in that, and you're like, overextend.
I'm so, yeah, but I like it. Part of me loves it. The other part of me, it like kind of, it's like, dude, take some time for yourself, buddy. That's why I stay up so late. I stay up so late every night. I stay up till 6 a.m. the other day. Ripped off like 40 pages of a script because I just get away from everything. I love the people in my life. I love being around people and connecting others, you know, bringing people together. But I love like 11 p.m. till like 6 a.m.
Really?
Oh, I love it so much because the world is shut down. And maybe not the world, but where I am, my neck of the woods, you know, shut down. And there's no distractions. There's just you, and you could do anything you want. And I know we could do anything we want during the day, but a part of me wants to be doing these other things that I'm not good with the balance on.
Yeah.
But I don't have to worry about balance at night.
Yeah.
I just worry about me.
You can focus on yourself and create that time.
I love it.
And go into it.
Oh.
I wrote a poem once about that feeling because I used to be such a night owl. And I used to do most of my writing at night. And I remember like writing this poem about that feeling. Can't remember the poem. It's deep in the archives somewhere. But yeah, I think it opened with like, I like nighttime best. And then it went into like a bunch of like florid, I'm sure, language about how and why and the feeling. But like, I know that feeling. I now am such a morning girl, and like I get up and then Lily and I write in the morning and stuff, and like I'm going to bed at 10.
That's beautiful.
So I'm in bed before your world begins.
That's only possible with balance. While the outside world is awake and you're awake, if you can control yourself, you can handle any distraction or any other temptation, you know, or fun, whatever it may be.
I think for me, like what I do, like with my writing and like my work is so fun.
Yeah.
That I have, and my relationship I'm so happy in my relationship, and a number of my friendships feel so deep and fulfilling that my experience is like, oh, you have to be this tall to ride the ride. You better be like worth my fucking taking time away from like Jacques, who I know I'm going to have a good time with.
Yeah.
Or me being alone, which I know is going to be a blast.
Yeah.
And like, you better be like, I better be enjoying this. But I also came from such a background where I felt like similar to you. Like, I think I felt like I had to overextend myself for so many, many, many years. So maybe I'm now like the pendulum swung really far the other way, where I'm like, I'm not coming out. I'm staying in the house.
I think it's all just timing and waves, you know, because look, I feel this way right now. I didn't feel this way a year ago.
Yeah.
I didn't feel this way in my previous relationship, you know? But looking back on that, I probably needed to extend myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because when you're with a partner that you love and really care about, and you enjoy your space, you enjoy your pets, your whatever, the things you've built together, I'm like you, I don't want to leave. I love it. I'll just stay home. I'm having a great time. I make you laugh. That's enough for me. You know, we're having fun. But then you realize that, you do need a little bit of the other things, right? You still need to be seeing your friends. You still need to be out there finding collaborators who inspire you and you want to learn from, and exploring life, you know, with your partner and on your own. And I think that comes down to the balance thing. So while the partner may get a lot of my time, you start getting in your head and you're like, oh, maybe I need to be doing other things. And then maybe the partner feels like, oh, I'm not getting enough of his time now. And you're like, oh God, which one? How do I do this?
Right. Yeah, it's, I guess, the balance.
The balance. It's the waves of life.
Because I feel like I get out there and do a lot of things now. I'm like, I think painting myself as a total homebody.
No,
but it depends on the week.
I feel like you do get out there and do your thing.
I do.
And you're always like got some like, I feel like you're always part of some like really sick art installation as well.
Some weird Sweden shit, like all that crazy erotic performance art I do. Yeah, it gets wild.
And not that I watch it or anything. No.
You've never been. You got to come to one.
That would be
they
awesome.
They get real crazy.
Oh, I would love to experience something like that.
Yeah, they're really cool. We're going to have another one coming up, I think, at the Roosevelt Hotel. I'll have to tell you about that one.
I love a new experience. You know, people have been talking to me a lot about, I've had multiple people this week talking about, like, I'm just like, maybe we're at that age where they're like, you know, I don't want to waste my time anymore. I don't have time to waste, you know. If I don't like wholeheartedly love this person, or you know what, I'm not super close to them, I don't have time for them. And you know what, I maybe I need more of that, but at the same time, I really feel like nothing in life is a waste of time. And maybe that is a weird feeling, or I don't know what it is exactly, but if I'm wasting time, that means I'm wasting it for a reason. Whatever is going on with me at that moment, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And I can learn from wasted time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I never feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah, but what's the measure of wasted time? Like, I think I don't know. I guess these people have their own measure for it. And maybe wasted time is the wrong phrase. As you're saying this, I'm like philosophizing about this. As you're saying this, I'm like, wait a second. Maybe it's not that time is wasted. It's just that we didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's as simple as that. Like,
yeah,
it's not like you're saying, it's not a waste because you learned something. Maybe you go somewhere and you feel like that was a waste of my time. No, I just learned that maybe I need to say no and go home and when I feel like I need to go home.
I think you nailed it, because I think I want to do everything. I always feel like when the day is ending, I don't want to go to bed. Yeah. I never want the day to end. It's annoying when the day ends. I hate having to go to sleep. I hate having to do my nighttime routine. If I got to put lotion on one more time.
Dooley's digging in the couch.
That's right, you hate
Dooley
it too.
Dooley really likes Michael.
Oh,
I just called you Michael and it felt so weird.
All right,
I'm gonna try to work. No,
go
I'm
back
gonna
to Vlamis. Go back to Michael Vlamis.
I'm gonna work on Michael. I'm gonna work it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna work it in.
Would you, from the time that we've known each other, I'm so curious the outsider's perspective.
Oh yeah.
You know, would you say that you're like, oh, this is a guy who, like, lives life too fast, has no balance?
I have no judgment on the way that you live your life. I have no idea.
Beautiful.
Outsider's perspective on you, I feel very comfortable around you. I felt really comfortable when I first met you. And I feel like you're very open. Like you're like, yeah, let me come on my podcast and talk about like what's going on with me.
Yeah.
I would never think, oh, this guy's doing this too much, just because like I don't want people to like, well, people can think whatever the fuck they want about me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know in my heart that I'm living my life the way that I want to be living it. So I don't give a fuck. And I feel like I don't spend a ton of time, maybe sometimes I do spend time thinking like good friends of mine or like people that are really close to me in certain ways being like, man, if you could just X, but do this, like, you know, do X, do Y, you know, whatever, you might be happier. But I think my goal in my mind, if I'm like quote unquote passing judgment on someone, I guess my goal is like, with that in my mind, I'm like, they seem to want X.
Yes.
Why don't they do Y more?
Yeah.
That might get them X. So for you, I would have no ability to be like, you're living too fast or you're living too slow, because I don't know what you want.
Right. And that's the funny thing is when I see the way I take people as they are. And so I hope they take me as I am. But again, in a weird way, of course, I guess you care about things in your life and, you know, doing well, being kind, people thinking of you as you think of yourself. But at the same time, also don't fucking care, because I know who I am internally, right?
Yeah.
And if someone is going through something, like, and I'm not really one to like, okay, if you need some advice, like I'm the person to give you that advice, like, sure, I mean, I'll talk you through it. But I always just think that, oh, this is how this person is. Like, there's so many times where I've been with people and they're like, that guy was a jagoff. And I'm like, no, he was just insecure. You know, I'm like, that doesn't make him an asshole.
You can feel like the thing behind the thing. Like this person's wounded and that's why they're behaving that way, etc.
Yeah, but maybe that's someone who makes excuses for people too.
Or someone who just like is empathetic. You know, because I think that's the truth. I think saying hurt people is true most of the time, you know? But also like, whatever. I think I'm in this new school of thought now where I'm just like, whatever makes me enjoy my life more and be kind to those around me and like not impeding on other people's, you know, free will and enjoying their life. But whatever makes me like, whatever framing I need to provide myself to, I've been calling it turn the river blue. A coach I work with gave me this concept, which is like, the water is clear, but we think it's blue. Like when you draw water, like with a crayon, you draw it blue most of the time.
Right.
Unless you're really getting really interpretive. But she's like, it's not blue, it's clear. It just reflects the sky.
Yep.
And so if you are looking at the river and, you know, a bird flies over that's red, and you're going to look at that and be like, it's red. The river is red. I don't like that. Or the fall leaves are turning and being like, I don't want the river to be red. Why is the river red? She's like, just move to an area where it's reflecting the sky.
So simple.
And the river is blue. And she told me, she was like, I think she said like, oh, it's going to seem too simple, but it like works. And I tried that method out for a couple of weeks now. I'm off the blue river now and I need to get back on it. But it took a few days for it to kick in.
Yeah.
But the more I noticed the things that I liked, the more blue I saw. The more the river was blue, the more I just like my focus on the things that I liked made me notice other things I liked. And so when you say like, oh, that guy's not a jack off, he's just insecure, it made me think of that in a way, because it's like, yeah, you've primed your brain to think a certain way, and the brain loves a pattern and the mind loves a pattern. And so it will grab onto that and continue the pattern. And so yeah, we can feed it what we want. And you being empathetic is probably...
I think this actually goes back to the movie I made, to Crossword. I mean, a lot of that movie is about we see the answers that we're looking for, right? We get the answers we're looking for. And I'm always looking for the good in people. I want people to be good. I don't walk into a room and think poorly of anyone just based on a feeling. Like, I'll give them a chance, always, because I want to be given a chance myself, and I really do see the good. And I've kind of always been that way my entire life, but as I started, I think, getting into relationships in my like early 20s, like first serious relationship and stuff, I started realizing that over time, I'm not extending the same kindness to my partners as I am to friends, strangers, whoever. And I realized that, it's because, dude, you got some shit going on with yourself, and you think your partner is a reflection of you. And it took me a long time to like get over that. But throughout my life, have always extended the benefit of the doubt to everybody. It doesn't mean I'm not like street smart or wise. I mean, I could flip in a second.
Hey.
No. I haven't done that in a while.
No, I said, hey, like, I like it. Like, flip on them, you know?
I almost got in a fight recently at a party. I haven't been in a fight in like, what am I now, 35? I haven't been in a fight in like 10 years, and I'm so proud to say that. And last time was just because I was driving by One Oak, and some guy yelled at our car, and
sometimes you gotta throw down a little bit.
I was in a phase where you had to yell back, and then they stormed the car, and you gotta open the doors, and then your girlfriend's very upset with you.
One thing goes to the other.
No more of that. I don't do that anymore. I really, really don't do that anymore, which I'm very proud of myself.
But if somebody was coming at you, knuckles out, I'm sure you'd defend yourself. I mean, I certainly would.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I've been in that situation too many times I know exactly what I'll do, But
yeah.
I used to be like more down for it though, Now I'm like, no, peace and love. I don't need to break any more fingers and nose and everything, we don't need that. But yeah, I mean, I think I like that stuff about me. I like that side of me, but I just channel it differently, And I really, I really do think that you said something about ego earlier. Like, I'm very curious. I think that
What did I say?
Well, you just responded when I brought up ego in a way that, like, I think part of you loves ego.
I think ego is really important and healthy. I think we demonize it too much.
I think we do too. I think there's parts of ego that are really dangerous,
For sure. I think
and
if
not
it's
self-serving, but
if it's taking over, or if it's causing you to put others beneath you.
Yes.
I think that's where it could be dangerous. But I think a healthy ego of being like, I love my life. I love who I am. My life is a fucking movie. To me, I'm like, that's beautiful. I want to hear people say that. I want to hear you say that.
Yes, it's the best. Ego is horrible when it stems from insecurities and makes you then defensive. Mm-hmm. Dealing with defensive people, and I've been one of them. I was a defensive person. I mean, I still am in certain ways, but I mean, if I was, I've done a 180 on that, but living on the defense, that's where I think I don't know, you probably have a way better word for like a dark ego or whatever the word is,
A dark ego?
I don't know what that is, like the dark side of the ego.
I think like unintegrated shadow.
Wow,
like I think
she
it's
brings
like,
it back to her favorite
my
thing.
favorite thing, which is
Carl would be proud.
Of course, I'm gonna see everything through that lens because I'm like obsessed. But like, to me, it's like unintegrated parts of you know, like internal family systems, like parts work?
Not as well as you probably do.
Yeah, I don't actually know it super, super, super well, but like my dad was doing it for a while, and like people in my life do it, and so I know about it through other people, but and I do it in probably a like janky way of like not having been taught technically the whole method. But when I think of like a dark ego or like a dark part of ourselves, to me it's like a part of us that's actually looking to help us. Like that defensive part of us is trying to serve us. Just like you're like, that guy's not an asshole, he's insecure.
Right.
That part of us, that quote unquote dark ego, it's dangerous because it's not being listened to and it's not getting its needs met, and we're telling it, shut up, shut up, shut up, don't come out, don't come out, don't come out. And if you shut someone in a room and tell them, they're gonna bang the door down. You know, like Lily, like on her episode where she was like, oh, my anger, she closed it away, and then it had to like bust out.
Yeah.
You know,
as a huge video game character.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know, to me, I see things with so much compassion. I do think like people's unmet needs come out as these like monsters. And whether that's I need to express my anger and be witnessed and received in that, or I need to be acknowledged for what I'm doing, and then you feel defensive because you're like, I don't feel that I'm, that part of you comes up and takes the wheel and is like, I'm not getting the acknowledgement I need, like get the fuck away from me.
You just everything you're saying and everything we're talking about makes me just think of the ache, right?
The ache.
And what the ache is.
Yes.
And I really believe your ache is ever changing. It's never the same, but that doesn't mean that they don't repeat themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm aching in a way now that I haven't ached in half a decade, you know, a little bit over that. And, you know, you care about things differently when you're aching about different things, and your perspective shifts, and we need that. The ache is a beautiful thing. We need the ache, and the ache is always revolving.
Yeah, tell me
evolving.
how you interpret the ache. Like what, like when you hear that phrase or when you're saying it and using it now, like what does it mean to you?
I think it's what I'm longing for at any moment.
Yeah.
And that can be a mindset. That can be love. It hasn't been, maybe, it's so funny. I was about to say it hasn't been career in a while, but that's bullshit. But I'm coming off something cool, and so I'm like, I forgot that I even had that ache, you know? But there is an ache for career, not in the same way. Yeah. It's not 2017 and I'm 16K in credit card debt. Yeah. Waking up every day to drive Uber from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. My back gets thrown out, and I keep driving Uber because I'm a masochist, and I'm like, no, you need the punishment back then. Like, you gotta make it, dude. Whatever that means. But yeah, but I think what I was saying was just how I was about to talk about how I haven't ached for work in a while.
He's back.
Billy came sprinting in with a new toy.
Yeah, you haven't
escaped.
You haven't ached for work. It's okay.
I hadn't, but guess what? No, I was aching for work.
Yeah.
Last year I was longing for something that excites me, you know? I'm very fortunate to be in a position where it's not like I need to be working right now. I mean, the way I work, you wouldn't know that because I love what we do so much. I mean, you know, finish a script, on to the next. Can't wait, because scripts are basically, I've realized, meditation for me. It's a journal, right? I mean, you write so much of yourself in your scripts. I've read 2 of them now. Yes. Have I read it? No.
You probably know more about me than I realize you do, just from reading my work.
Oh, that's fun. That's the best kind of work.
And seeing my films, yeah.
That's the best kind of work. Yeah, I feel like I know you decently, even though I don't. You know,
I feel that way about you too. But I think you and I both are like sharers online. Like you have no problem like grabbing the phone and fucking posting you talking to camera. I feel like I share a lot online of myself. Yeah. And I like, obviously I see all of your posts and everything. So I think like,
you inspired me, actually.
I did?
Yeah, you gave me the strength to post a photo of me on the toilet.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm like,
Look,
yo.
that's what I'm trying to inspire people to do.
You thought I was going to say so. You inspire me in many, many ways. I have a lot of admiration
That was
for
one
you.
of the best things you could have possibly said, and I was surprised.
The truth is, I've always just thought you were so cool.
Really?
Yeah, so yourself, and also like people that are so, I feel like, artistic and interesting and quote unquote, I mean, special in a way, don't always have a knack for the business side of things.
Right.
And you have that.
Oh shit.
And every time, you know, and I'd like to take pride in knowing that I have that. I mean, I went to business school.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be in the film industry. And whenever I talk to him, I'm like, man, a person who gets it on both sides, that's really special.
That's what I'm learning as I've gone along, and like
How special you are.
I meant how rare it is to be into both the art and the business, but yeah. But also no, I think like it can be easy to pawn it off. I think we're taught. I think people are taught that they are incapable. I think people are taught, oh, you're an artist. Artists don't do this. Artists don't have the money conversations. That's not what you do as an artist. That's not your job. You should stay away from that because it's going to hinder your art. And then the opposite, I think, is true. You're a business person. Why would you be worrying about the art? Why would you be wasting your time on that? That's not what you're good at. Stick to your lane. And I think business is artistic. I think being artistic can be very like pragmatic or like business. Like when I'm writing, I'm thinking about money. Like, I'm not kidding you.
That's amazing.
Because I know I'm going to make these films. Like, I will say to Lily, I'll be like, well, we could do, and then I'm like, no. If we don't have the animal in this scene, like, we don't need it, right? So, like, forget that. We'll just save it for the scene, like, we really feel artistically, like, we need it in, you know? And, like, I can see the dollar signs when I'm writing a script of, like, that stunt is going to be more expensive. We can, like, achieve the same thing with this one. Or we're like, oh, this movie we want to do for, like, 10 million. So, like, let's keep everything in that range. Oh, this one we want to do for 5. Let's like keep that in mind as we're writing.
Yeah.
And so,
well, you're a doer.
Yeah, because I want to make it. I want to make it happen.
You're a doer. Exactly. You will make it happen.
But I feel it the same way about you. So I feel like you're seeing a reflection in me.
Probably why I like you so much.
Yeah, that's probably why we like each other.
I love myself. No.
I love my fucking self.
I do too, actually. I do so much.
As we should, because like, who's gonna like think about someone you love so much, like in your life that's like so close to you and what you think of them, and like, of course you hope they think that of themselves, you know, like you'd be like, what do you mean? Like, what are you saying? Like, if some of the shit we said to ourselves in our mind, if someone else said it to us, one of our friends would be like, beat the shit out of them, you know?
100%. I think that all the time. The amount of like pump up speeches I give my buddies at times, you know, if they're feeling down, and it's not because I feel the need to I mean, clearly my body does in a way, but it's because they are the things that I'm saying. I believe what I'm saying, you know? And sometimes the critic in our heads definitely can get down on us, but I definitely am still like, oh, you have a big win or something. I'm screaming in the car. I'm talking to myself in the mirror, jacked up out of the shower, just being like, oh my God, you fucking did that. That's sick. Like, it's so sick. Like, I remember a few years back, I was like taking a shower and I was like, dude, if little you looked at your life right now and was like, oh my God, you like act and make movies for a living and have like these friends, this partner, this life, that is so freaking cool. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like thinking that about yourself.
No,
like, I love my life so much. I love that today, what did I want to do? I woke up, I felt the should have, right? Oh, I've been going to the gym a lot, you know? I'm gonna go to the gym. You know what? Nah, I'm gonna go to the Hammer Museum just because. And then we're going to go record a podcast.
Fuck yeah.
And then maybe I'll go to a show after this. And maybe I'll hit the gym at midnight if I feel like it, you know?
Yeah.
I love the freedom of that.
Yeah.
You know, I worked for a company for a while. I literally was still on my own time in a way, but you're managing people, right? You're at someone else's beck and call. And the fact that our lives give us so much freedom, even though maybe sometimes we don't feel as free because a lot of what we do is contingent on other people. I love being an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur of my life.
The best.
It's the best. Get out of here, Dooley.
Dooley's just the main star of this podcast today because he just keeps coming in. He really wants us to play with this pretzel.
Dooley can tell how much I love dogs.
Yeah, he can feel it. He knows he's the star. But yeah, I love it too. That's something that I love. It's something that, for me, being autonomous over my life, I feel like, is it a choice or is it destiny? Like, I don't know. Because, like, I have a certain astrological placements that say, oh, you should have a job that means that no one tells you what to do. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. But, like, I always felt that way as a kid. I fucking hated school because I didn't like being told this is the way to do that. This is the way to like, I just felt like it was so limiting. I was like, why am I memorizing these things?
Yeah.
Like, how is it going to serve me in my life? Like, I want to know the why behind like anything that I do. And so school was always really hard for me because of that. And I was always like very independent, and I was just more interested in like project-based things where I was given autonomy and told to like go figure this out or like go find a way to make this happen in school. And
I hated school too. That's so funny.
I fucking hated it.
You know what though? What says a lot about me, and I hated school, yet I finished top 10 in my high school graduating class.
There he goes.
Not because I wanted to, but because I felt like I had to, in a way, you know? Like, why work so hard at something you hate? That's insane.
Well, you got insane, but also brilliant of your body, because your body, like, as you're saying, you have this thing where you're like, I need to suffer, or I need to bury something, or like not prioritize my own needs. I need to prioritize the shoulds and prioritize the needs of others. So your body and nervous system are doing something brilliant because they're like, cool, Michael, this is what you told us is important, to like suffer for the thing.
You should see her arms moving right now.
I'm like doing a weird dance. I'm doing like
the nervous system.
The nervous system. I'm like doing like a soldier, like what I think is soldier walk. I'm like, salute, sir. We're doing what you asked us to do, sir.
So good.
We're creating suffering for ourselves.
By the way, I cheated a lot, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't, I always loved like figuring out how to beat the teacher.
Oh, I love that.
I loved beating the teacher. Oh, everyone's answers next to me are different. Oh, well, I know this answer's right. And I know number 32 on that dude's test is starting with that answer. You know, it's like, or just like your own note cards. This is not good to tell people.
I mean, people are going to cheat if they're going to cheat. They don't need you. You didn't give them the idea.
No, I don't cheat now. I'm too honest now.
Or do you feel like it's bad to tell people because you don't want to reveal that part of yourself? Or do you feel like it's bad to tell people because you don't want to encourage that kind of behavior? I should have asked that question first.
You know what's funny? I'm actually a big believer in sharing all the worst things about you so people can learn from you.
I love that.
Not that I think that they'll do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand, you know, like a parent or something holding back all of the stories that the maybe promiscuous or dangerous or whatever stories in order to protect their kids. It's like the kid's going to go experience that now in the dark because you're going to do it regardless. I did all of the horrible things. I was such a punk, you know? And so I think I'm an overshare in a big way, but realistically, something changed in me years and years ago where, like, I mean, if they forget to charge me for the guac because it looks buried under my Chipotle lettuce that I added on top, I'm like, oh, you guys forgot to charge me for the guac. It's like 15 years ago. I might be at the checkout being like, I forgot my wallet.
Yeah.
And seeing what will happen, you know? That's insane. 15 years ago. No, I was 20 years ago. Yeah, when I was a little teenager, it was just whatever I can get away with. But you can always get away with more if you're top 10 in your class, you know, doing well on the baseball team, right? Like, but I don't know. It was always like...
Dear listener, this is the part of the podcast where my dog went absolutely apeshit and was barking at the mailman. And then Michael was barking into his microphone, peeking. It would blow out your ears if we kept it in here. But anyway, back to the conversation.
Here's a question for you, actually, that I don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like trying to think what I've seen of your work, because I've seen Roswell and I've seen Crossword, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, is there a through line in any of the roles that you play that you see, or is there something that you like see people seeing in you that you get cast as? Like, is there anything there?
Yeah, 100%.
What is it?
Well, Roswell, the first feature I produced, which I didn't write, the script was sent to me, a movie called 5 Years Apart, that's out now. Even this Pools movie that just played at TIFF Next Wave that I'm in. All these characters, even Crossword in a way, maybe not as much, probably because I wrote it with Kyle, my writing partner, Kyle Anderson, but all these roles that I've like booked or been offered over the years are always a guy that is fucked up, kind of a piece of shit in certain ways, but like you end up loving him. And that's kind of like one of my favorite movies of all time, Good Will Hunting, which I watched again last night.
Perfect.
I know.
Perfect timing.
Something you were saying earlier was reminding me of the movie too.
Really?
Oh, about moving into this house and being like, it's not, when's the shoe gonna drop, right? And like, that's what he's doing when she's like, come with me to California. And he's like, so what? You could just like, be over me all of a sudden and just remember the time that you went slumming too once, And I'm like, I was just thinking about that exactly when you said that. It was just so sad. Like, we deserve the love that's coming our way,
But if we don't know how to receive it, how do we?
Yeah. But in that movie, he is, and this is probably why I've always gravitated towards it, he is this like underdog character in a way that like he's fighting people, he could be a dick, like, but he's got a really good heart. And I think for whatever reason, I get these roles where, Roswell, my character's kind of like an asshole in a way. But then he's like, well, he lives in like a trailer in a junkyard. He's a genius. He was abused. He was abandoned. He's got all these other things going on. And by the end of it, you're like, oh man, I like this guy. I feel for this guy, And honestly, I'm very fortunate that people are seeing me like that, because those are the most interesting roles to play.
Yeah.
It's so fun. The fact that my favorite movie, the character type, ends up being the roles that I'm getting, I think is an interesting thing. And I just got to work with Matt Damon, so
oh my god, that's
insane.
Amazing.
I told him everything.
You did?
Yeah, I told him exactly how I feel about him. And he was the coolest.
Oh hell yeah.
It was so wild.
I love that.
He was like, I look up to him even more now.
I love that.
It was insane how hard he worked and how kind he was to everybody on set. It was so sick.
That is so sick.
Yeah.
That is the coolest thing that you can be, is both very good at what you do and artistically, and a nice, like, kind, clear person. Like, to me, that's everything.
Just generous.
Love that.
I love generous people.
Love that.
That's what makes the world go around,
It really does.
Yeah.
But to take it back to my question, I just have one more follow-up, which is, okay, so here's this way that you're being seen, or these characters that you gravitate towards. Like, do you feel that there's any element in there of like shadow integration work or work, whatever you want to call it, like a part of you that wants to experience that on screen, or like wants to experience that as an actor, to exercise like a part of yourself?
Oh, 100%. I'm kind of addicted to putting my life and my feelings into the work and letting them out on screen, because I think I'm kind of bad at that in real life. And if I ever do it, I'm doing it alone for the most part, And I guess I do it alone a lot, but on screen, there's just this freedom to be exactly who you are, and nobody, it's so weird because some people inhibit themselves as an actor by thinking people will judge them. I think when the camera's rolling, I could do anything. Like, I'm more free than I am. I'm pretty free in my real life too, but on camera, the more truthful you are, and the more fucked up maybe you seem, the more of a dick you can be at times. As long as it's truthful, the more enjoyable it is to watch.
Yeah.
And so I fortunately have this gift where I could be the realest I ever am. I'm pretty real in real life too, but like, well, I don't want to dump on people, I don't want people to feel, if I'm feeling painful, you don't need to feel painful. Sure, I'll share with you what's going on with me, but I'm not trying to be like that person who you're like, how you doing? Oh man, well today, no, it's like, nah, I'm all right now. How you doing? Like let's make it okay. We can talk about it, but like, let's make it okay. On screen, it's like, oh, no, you can show what's going on with you right now, for real. And that's the most beautiful art, in my opinion.
And not only can you, but my guess is the more you do it, the more you're praised.
Oh, definitely.
So to me, I'm like, perfect shadow integration work. Because if you're like afraid of being a burden on people with your feelings, or you're afraid of like, I don't want to be that person, or like, I don't want to be. Now you're creating.
Oh, did you just therapize me?
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's
on
a word,
purpose.
right?
Therapize.
Therapize.
I'm just making
Did
an
I peek?
observation.
Did I peek?
Tell me if I was right or not. But like, whether it's
no.
conscious or subconscious, you like, the cool thing is you have this opportunity as an actor of like, this is the thing that I'm scared. It's the same with Lily, with Zendara. Like, I'm afraid of my anger. Okay, cool. I'm afraid people are going to get mad at me or shun me for my anger. And then she starts doing her anger on screen and they're like, great, more. That's perfect for the character.
Yeah.
As an actor, I think actors get the luxury of like perfect shadow integration most of the time.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get praised for like showing their emotions. And so many people struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, not that I want to go around life with like a ton of attitude, you know, but I have a ton of attitude, and the fact that you can just let that out on camera is a beautiful thing. Also, I do have a lot going on at all times. We all do internally, and you don't want to burden people, right? I hate inconveniencing people. I hate, like, we just had a party, and one of the guys throwing the party wanted to send out reminders to people about the party, and I'm like, what?
I love a reminder personally.
Oh, see, that's amazing. Because in my opinion, I'm like, why text someone again and bother them
I might have
this
forgotten.
party?
I might have forgotten. I love when I get a reminder because I'm like, oh my God, I forgot.
That's so interesting. Because in my head, I'm like, no, we're burdening people with another freaking text.
So
that
you
they got to
have
feel like they got to respond to.
You have a deep thing of not wanting to burden people.
I have a deep thing of not wanting to burden people. 100%.
Yes.
And that's probably why I'm such a self-starter in a way too.
Yeah.
But then when you reach out and you ask people for help, guess what? They do help. And that's the amazing thing.
Isn't it?
It's hard to accept though, but
Listen,
it's real.
I have a Capricorn moon. This is a classic placement for like struggling to accept help, or like struggling to like delegate, or like let other people do things. I like hate burdening people, and I also hate being let down. When someone said they're going to do something and like don't do it, I'm just like, shit, I could have just done that myself. Fuck. You know?
The interesting thing is though that once we do delegate, and especially as directors we have to, once we do give the reins over to someone else, then you fully trust in it. And it's so beautiful. But the ask prior to it, right? You're going to read this script and do you want to be the production designer? All right, well, I'm going to send it regardless.
Yeah.
But I'm going to feel some type of way about it. I never let my feelings stop me from doing anything.
That's beautiful.
And that's something that I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm confident all the time and all that, but I am confident in who I am overall. Therefore, even though I get anxious just like the next person, I'm maybe nervous, I always take the shot. And part of me also just like likes playing with fire. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I love taking a risk.
Ooh.
It's messed up.
Me too. I take so many risks that I don't register things as risks anymore, in a way where I was telling my friend, like, I've been in like not a great financial situation, and I was telling her, I was like, it's just been so sparse with the work, you know, and I've gotten into a situation where I'm like, oh shit, like I'm at that, like I'm just on the edge, you know. But I told her, I was like, I don't feel like I'm on the edge, because I'm on the edge all the time in different ways in my life, you know. And I got
used to comfortable living out there.
I'm comfortable on the edge. And so for me now, you know, there's work to be done of like being like, when do I actually need to be worried about this? But like I said, I think my new philosophy is like that Blue River thing, and like trying to just be like, I am thinking about future me. I'm not someone to ignore what's going on in my life. Like I very much like take things very seriously and look at them. I take things way too fucking seriously, to be honest. Like same. I take things so serious. Like I'm a fun person, but like I think you and I are similar like this. Like I love to have fun and be silly and enjoy that part of my life, but I take things very, very, very fucking seriously. And I mean it. I'm earnest. I'm an earnest person.
I think I see that in you.
Yeah.
I relate so
I feel
hardcore.
like you are too.
I relate, in a big way.
Yeah, and it's not like I always feel like I'm so uncool because of it, but then I don't care because I'm like, I'd rather be earnest. Like I always wish I was mysterious, or like one of those people that posts a picture with like just an emoji and like never says anything on their Instagram story. Yes. And it's like a carousel that you don't understand, but they seem very cool. Yeah. And then it's just like a dolphin emoji and they're like, in France again. Yes. And you're just like, I don't know anything about you, and I wish I could be that vague, but unfortunately I would like to open up my insides and show them to the world personally.
Right.
That's just me though.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am too. And the funny thing is that I think you are so cool.
I think you're so cool.
Well, thank you. But I think coolness comes down to being comfortable with who you are and not being afraid to show it. I mean, if you're yourself, you're cool,
Yeah. I agree.
Although maybe some people who are themselves, like, no, you're right. No. Everybody's so cool.
They can be inspiring. Like, listen, there's a person I don't like at all very much, and I maybe shouldn't say it on the podcast because he's our president. And I'm scared he's gonna start snatching people up that say they don't like him.
You might lose your job, like the head of 60 Minutes.
Certainly, but however, I'm inspired by the man. You know why? Because he decided he was going to do all these insane things. And to me, I'm like, I don't like it. I look at that and I'm like, I don't like that shit. However, I'm like, apparently you can just wake up in the morning and decide to do things and be like, this is who I'm going to be. I'm going to get elected as the president. Yeah. And I'm like, why do I hold myself back? Why am I in my head being like, is it okay? Is it appropriate for me to direct this movie? Yeah. Is it okay that I want to direct this movie? Shut up, bitch. This guy's the president.
And guess what? Tweet shut up, bitch, as you're the president, and you're going to be good, That's how it goes these days. But I think it's actually funny you say that because I've thought about him when it comes to acting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you're going in to audition for something and you're playing the president? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine before he was president, right? Now maybe people can imagine. Before he was president, going into that audition and playing the president like him?
Yeah.
You'd be like, no, that's not a president. That's not what presidents do. Well, guess what? Why are we labeling anything? Why do we have ideas about anything? If something feels right to you, however you see it, then that's what it is. Because guess what his version of presidency is? This. So if someone now says, you're playing the president, well, that's an option.
That's an option.
That's an 8-year option right there that we could talk about,
Absolutely. This takes me back to you putting your hand on the stove. Does that mean that's a problem? Only if you think it is. I'm going back to that in my head. I'm being like, I like it.
I think part of me loves it, but I'm also starting to I just want to always get better, right? I always want to better myself.
Evolve, yeah.
Always. I'm like self-aware to a fault almost. And I think that's why I always crack jokes. I'm always, you grow up like the fat kid, you got to stay ahead of everything. Yeah. Right? What's the funniest thing here that I could say that'll get everyone laughing at what I said instead of laughing at me maybe, right? And so I'm always not always in defense mode in a way, but being that on it with jokes and stuff is almost started from a defense mechanism, But yeah, I don't know. I started talking about me being fat.
I'm listening.
Little Mikey.
We love Little. Well, I love Little. I never met him, but I know I love him. He's your avatar on Instagram.
He's me.
Yeah.
I think I still am that little guy.
Yeah.
I'm just as gluttonous as he was in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
You get a blunt in me, I'm eating like he was.
Yeah. Well, another piece of my obsession. You're like, let me take this version of me and he's my fucking avatar. Yeah. That's my guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I'm proud of that. I think that little guy was struggling really, really bad.
And I'm sure that everything he was doing was in service of him trying to better himself and trying to make his life feel better to him.
Yeah.
I know I was an angry child.
Me too.
And I did a lot of raging and I did a lot of things, that now I'm like, oh, I wouldn't do that as an adult. But as a kid, what coping mechanisms do you have? You don't really have that many. And you just use the ones at your disposal to try to make things more comfortable for you.
Yeah, I also, with the anger growing up, I had that into my adult years too. I think actually moving out to California really bettered me, really changed me. Smoking more weed really changed me. I don't smoke as much as I used to, but it really opened me up in just that California mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed me.
Where are you from?
Chicago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden you're showering in your dorm you know, you got the soap in your eyes closed, and you open up your eyes and your roommate is in the shower naked right in front of you in like a 3x3 shower just to fuck with you. And I'm like, nobody in Chicago would be doing that.
Oh, wait.
They would like push the person, you know, and I'm just like, oh, this is funny. We're doing a bit, you know, and now it's like getting used to just like different cultures, different people having fun, like that. Like you could easily be so uptight about something like that, you know. And I think I was really uptight because I was just wound so tight, you know, growing up. But I have, for all the horrible things I've done in my life, I have.
Me too.
I mean, you know, I have no. God, I have no regrets. I definitely wish maybe people that were affected by certain things didn't have to bear the burden of my learnings, you know. But I really, fortunately, you know, nobody got hurt really bad. Nothing horrible, you know, happened that I caused. You know, we've seen horrible things happen, but I didn't cause them, you know. And because of that, I don't really have any regrets. Even if something really awful does happen, it's kind of like, well, what's the takeaway from this? What's the lesson? You know? Then I say that stuff to my sister, and she's like, well, Michael, you didn't have to do that to learn that lesson. And I'm just like,
maybe you did, personally.
I know. Maybe I needed to grab that skillet. Fry me in the skillet.
Fry me in the skillet.
Ow, cramp.
Ow. Okay, what else? Is there anything else you're burning to share or say?
Burning to share or say?
Or impart to yourself or the listener?
Oh my gosh.
Or did we come to the end?
No, I think we covered so much. I'm burning up about something right now.
Tell me.
Big time, but I just can't.
Okay.
You know, out of still figuring out what it is, what it all means. You know, I do this thing where I talk about something, and because it's actually how I feel in the moment. And then a week goes by, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, and I feel totally different about that thing I was talking about. Mm-hmm. But that person I talked to about it doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Only certainly. I know it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, well, who are you lying to, actually? Or are you not lying at all?
I would say the latter, because also maybe the thing that you said to that person impacted them in a certain way that actually they took that forward and it improved their life in some way. Like, we never know, like, the ripple effect of our conversations. Maybe that's actually the exact conversation you needed to have at that moment.
Yeah, I think that I just need to choose the things that are good for me. And I think you talking about the shadow integration stuff, especially in the work, is kind of like, oh, do I like being a guy who like has a good heart and good intentions, but maybe fucks up sometimes? And it's like, well, no, because I don't really fuck up that much. And if I do fuck up, it's only affecting me. It's never affecting anyone else. Or though maybe it will, depending on what it is. But yeah, I think I am addicted to the complexities of what a human is. And I think I have accepted myself to the point where I grew up very judgmental, to the point where like I didn't drink for a long time. And it wasn't like a not drinking and like cool with everybody drinking. I was cool with everyone drinking. But deep down, I felt better than my buddies who were drinking, because they needed a few drinks to go approach that group of people over at that table.
Yeah.
I never needed that. I just went to the table.
Yeah.
And I had like a pride in that, you know?
Yeah.
And then little things like that, you start realizing, I mean, you're a kid, you know, I'm 17 feeling that way, you know? And then you get older and you experience heartbreak, you experience life. And next thing you know, you're chain smoking. Next thing you know, you're boozing. Next thing you know, you're just like all these other people that you judged at one point in your life. Who are you to judge? And I don't judge at all anymore. Like, it's honestly insane. But therefore, I don't judge myself really that much either. And sometimes you got to make sure you put yourself in check a little bit.
Hey, that's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's, you know, if we go any longer, I'll spill everything out there And there's certain things that I think I have a responsibility to figure out for myself prior to sharing them with the world.
That's so fair. Okay, perfect. We found a natural stopping point.
Thank you for listening to The Ache. This podcast is produced by myself, Corrin Evans, and Alexis Murphy. All the music you hear is original compositions by my friend Peter Colombo. All other pertinent information will be linked in the show notes, and thank you for listening.